Fish is big.
Well, as I'm fishing and I got a bit of spare time, I thought I'd do something a little bit different and show you the equipment I use, all the things I do on the bank to get my shots, and all the way through to editing, just so you get a bit of a background idea of everything that goes into my vlogs. You may not find it interesting, but if you don't have to watch it. But if you do, then stick around and I'll show you what I do. Okay, well, starting with the camera equipment, I get asked all the time what camera I use and equipment. So the camera I use is a Sony A7rii II. It's 4K full frame, 43 megapixels I think it is. So I forked out quite a bit of money in this. It's quite an investment, and you guys all seem to enjoy the quality, so it's a good investment. And on the end of that, at the moment, I've got a Samyang 85mm f1.4. Now, this is the lens I use the most to get the sort of arty-farty shots. So when you've got the really shallow depth of field and I'm pulling focus between, say, a branch and then I go to the end of the rod eye or something, this is the lens I nearly always use. Really nice smooth focus on it, and I'll show you in a second. Then moving over here, I've got a Rode shotgun video mic. And this is just a dead cat which Mark Erdwin from Fishing for Memories made for me. So really handy, that just cuts down on wind noise. And then that's got a high pass filter, and also inside I can change how many decibels it picks up. So -10, -20. If I'm filming something that's really loud, which isn't very often, but say a gig or something, you can dial down how much it picks up. Handy little flip out screen, so I can shoot down like this and do some shots, or flip it down as well, but that's really handy. So that's the camera and microphone setup that I use, and this little boom thing is just a handmade or homemade bodge job. Moving on to the tripod, if I'll leave that on actually. So there is a sliding plate where the camera can go on and off, and I can quickly flick it off. I'm not going to do it now with one hand, but anyway, that little plate comes off. The tripod and the head I bought separately. The head is a fluid drag system I got from Manfrotto, and as you can see, if I loosen it all off, you can get really smooth ups and downs, lefts and rights, because it's fluid drag system. So it's really smooth, really handy handle, just for more control. I'll just tighten all that back up, and then going down to a Manfrotto tripod. Again, like I said, I bought this separately to that, so I have got a ball head for this tripod as well. But this, all three legs are adjustable. The middle section, this middle column, sorry, goes up and down like so. It also clicks out and goes sideways, but I don't tend to do that when I'm filming. But that means you can get the tripod really low. As I said, so these all move separately, and each leg I can put right out wide so I can get the tripod down really low. You don't have to spend lots, but I got to say, Manfrotto, some of the best quality stuff you can get, and it does the job. And it's seen me through so many sessions, got wet, been in water, I've even taken it down mines, and it's survived, and it's pretty much bomb proof. So that's this setup. Moving over to my teeny weeny camera bag, I've got one of my other lenses. So this is a Zeiss 55mm 1.8. Again, quite good for my arty shots, really good for portraits and some fish captures. So my personal best lumpy, I had the water shots done with this lens, and if you have a look at that, it's on my Facebook and everything, you'll see it blurs out the background just enough to pull focus and interest onto the subject. Really, really good quality. Zeiss is top quality. Put that back in there, and I've got another Samyang lens. Now this one is a 14mm f2.8. So this is wide angle. This is more of my sort of blog type shot when I'm talking to the camera. Wide angle shots of the swim, of the landscape, and that's really good. And so yeah, that's literally the three lenses I use. So this 14mm, that 55, and that 85. And obviously one of my more recent purchases is what I'm filming all this on, my GoPro Hero 5. That is perfect for the chest mount. I've also got a head mount for it, loads of different grips, so I can put it on my net and stuff. And if I find it in here, I've also got a baby little gorilla pod. You may have seen these before. So obviously when it's in the cage, I can mount on there, and I can put it onto branches and things. That's what I did earlier for a time lapse. It just stays in place like that. Dead handy, and you can get that one really low. This is also what I do the majority of my time lapses on now, because it's got a dead easy function of you set the different intervals between pictures, click go and leave it, and it's done. It just does it all for you. Oh, my left float dipped a bit then. Just going to give you an example of the sort of things I film. Quite uneven ground here, so I'm going to try and adjust that. I hope you can see it all right on the camera. Just going to drop down these legs, get it a bit lower, get a nice low viewpoint. And there we go. Like I said, all adjustable legs. Put it down. Now, you may not be able to see it. Well, you probably can't. There's a little spirit level bubble here. I always make sure I get that dead perfect. That way, that if I want to do pan shots or up and down or move it any direction, I know that the camera is always dead straight. It's not going to, as you pan, suddenly go on a wonk. Sometimes you see panning shots where it starts to dip and the water starts draining out of the lake. That's because the tripod's not level. So you get that as dead centre as you can and you'll be spot on. So I've got a dead handy feature on here. I'm just going to do some filming and show you an example. Try and get you that on screen. Manual focus assist. So I pull focus onto what I want to zoom in on, like that, and I want to focus there. And manual focus assist lets me know exactly when that's in focus. So that's set up. I'm focusing on that buoy just there, and I want to pull focus onto the rod. So I framed it up to work. If I have a look, if I just zoom in, I can set the focus point to there when I'm ready. Hit record. Zoom into the bit I want to focus on. Zoom back slowly. And there we are. Now focus on that eye. We're all done. I'll have overlaid the original clip so you can see what I was talking about. So that example shot was taken on the 85mm at f1.4. This is the lens, as I said, that I use for all my arty shots, or probably about 80-90% of all the arty shots. That's where I really want a shallow depth of field. I want everything blurred apart from what I want in focus. So as you saw with that one, I pulled focus from the buoy on the docking station for the boats and pulled it back to my rods. So when you see all those types of shots, that's just one clip, and it takes a couple of minutes to set up and film. So the whole filming aspect of it does take a bit of time, but I enjoy doing it, so just gives you a bit of an insight on all the little things I do on the bank. Swim change, another load of filming. This is what I mean by I end up walking twice the distance of a normal angler. And we're done. And hopefully pick up something a bit further on. There you are, a little insight to what I do on the bank with all my camera equipment, lugging that around and getting all the shots. It takes a bit of time, but and also slows down your fishing sometimes, but it's quite enjoyable to do. So I hope that gives you a nice little bit of interest. But that's only part of it. All the rest of it, I've got to go home, edit it, and so I'll show you now what I do back at home. Here we are back home on my desktop, and it's time to get the SD cards from the main camera and this guy off the Mac. Once everything's on the Mac, I've organised it nicely in a folder. I then import it all into my editing software, which I also get asked questions all the time on, and I use Adobe Premiere CC. I've used it for probably a year or so now, and can't fault it. It does all the basics once you get used to it, but there's so much on this program that I've barely scratched the surface on my editing. It confuses me half the time, so I search on YouTube to find out little tips and tricks on what to do. But it's a brilliant program. A bit of a price tag on it, but it is worth it if you're getting into it. This is what Adobe Premiere looks like. You've got your timeline here, all of your content that you filmed here. You've also got your effects and all different toolbars here. Here is the clip you can input into the timeline, and this is what the end product looks like. So it's quite a nice little interface, and just to explain that a bit more, if I dragged this clip, so in, get in, to out, I can then drag that down into here, and it's now on the main story. So here's what it looked like, Main Lake Diaries, from the editing point of view. All these different clips, audio files, and little everything is all here. So this is the page I use. Another question I get asked very regularly is from people who are interested in starting out blogging. As you've already seen what equipment I use and what editing software and everything that's behind all my filming. So another question I get asked is tips for your blogs. My first pointer that I always give is to be yourself. YouTube blogging is something that's kind of really boomed in the last few years. I've been doing it for just over 9 years now, but it's a very, very saturated market, and to make yourself stand out, I think, is probably one of the hardest parts about blogging. I mean, I'm 6,000 followers now. I've still got a long way to go. I'm always striving to be better and get more followers, because I like to get the content out to as many people as possible. And I think one of the things I've always tried to do, and I have done, is to be myself on camera. It took a while to get confident on camera. That's another thing that may need a lot of work. It can be quite difficult. You get camera fright. It is a genuine thing. I watched it before, and I used to be terrible for it. I'd stop the camera, put the camera away if anyone was near me. Nowadays, I'll be talking to someone and I'll say, I'm going to vlog now, and they could be stood next to me or behind the camera while I film, and then I'll carry on talking. Obviously not in a rude way if it's something I need to film. But yeah, just be yourself on camera, and more often than not, you'll come across more natural. People will like the fact that there's a personal connection. At least I hope you feel you do with me as well, because I am on camera exactly as I am in person. So be yourself. Secondly, you've got to think about what you want people to take from your videos. With mine, I like to think that my blogs now are more of a storytelling. You can basically join me on the bank through my videos, see what I'm going through, tactics I'm using, and obviously the highs and lows. And Main Lake Diaries was a key example of that. If you haven't watched it yet, please do. And if you have, thank you for watching. But that video was a step-by-step guide, or not guide, narrative in a way of my experience on the main lake. So that one was very much more of a storytelling, but some of my videos have been more geared towards the tactics. So always have that in mind of what you want to get out of the video, what you want the viewers to take from the video, because then it's much clearer in your head. You know what you're going to talk about on camera. And sorry about all this gesticulating. I know it's a wide-angle lens. I'm getting too excited with my hands. So yeah, think about what you want the viewers to take from your video, if that made sense. I think, maybe. Following on from what you want people to take from your video, whether it's more of a blog style or more of a tactics thing, don't waffle on too much. I probably am in this video, but some of my older videos, when I go back and watch them, I just think, why didn't I just shut up? I talk way too much. I try and make my videos much more sharp and quicker. It's free-flowing, because I was finding even on YouTube has an option for viewer retention. You can see where people watched most and where it dropped off. And you can see the viewers dropped on me talking and peeked at a fish. Dropped at me talking, peeked at a fish, because I was talking way too much and people aren't often interested in all my waffling. Sometimes it's needed, other times it isn't. So if it isn't needed, don't waffle on and don't repeat yourself. I know I do it as well, but I try not to anymore. I tend to edit it out if I do. So there you are, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little insight into everything that I do behind the blogs. Equipment, filming wise, editing, and some tips if you're starting out blogging. I don't want to sound like I know everything, because I don't. I'm still learning all the time myself, and YouTube is such a great place for me to learn camera tricks more than anything, and editing. Just keep at it, be yourself, enjoy yourself. That's a massive thing about it. Enjoy it, don't force it. I enjoy making the videos, so it just makes it more of an easier workflow because I enjoy it. So yeah, I'm waffling. That's one of my points, not to waffle. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and find me on Facebook and Instagram at Nuffinbutfishing. Cheers.